So today we will see the range, Cybelec controller range, and our configurator, which is a software that we design in order to select the correct controller for your needs. I will introduce the range of 2004 controllers, 2024, and we will discuss about this. In 2 weeks, on the 14th of February, we will do a webinar about SIP-Touch for press brake and shears. We will look into the hardware, how to program the parts, and also a small introduction to parameters. So if you have a more detailed question, I will not answer all the questions today. We will be able to talk about this in 2 weeks. End of the month, we will speak about SIP-Touch 15 PS Win and VisiTouch. We will talk about the hardware, the programming, the machine configuration, different type of configuration, hydraulic, hybrid, electrical, and as well an introduction to parameters. Then, middle of March, we will talk about the commissioning, how to set up one axis. The parameters are similar on our complete range, which means if you know how to start up a SIP-Touch, either a shear, press brake, then you also know how to start up a VisiTouch, because the axis parameters, the beam parameters are strictly identical. So we will go into how to set up using our dedicated wizards. Then, end of March, we will speak about the new features that we have regarding most of our VisiTouch controllers, which will be the 2D, which was recently redesigned, and that will also evolve. So we will speak about the functionalities that we currently have and the functionalities in the near future, and also the new plugins that we have, the new option that we have, for example, Industry 4.0, robot management, angle measurement, barcode reader, and so on. So different options that might interest you. We will check this end of March. And then the 2 final webinars will be regarding the VisiTouch MX, which is the high range controller with 3D. First webinar will be how to program, how to use the 3D on our controller. So program a part or import a 3D part, which can be STEP, IGES, or DXF files, for example, and how to select the tooling or to do the automatic calculation, and how to basically use this software. The second webinar will be more regarding how to set up the software, which means how to define the 3D model of the machine. Each machine, each press brake model needs to be defined in the controller, so the controller knows which parts it can bend and check if there are any collisions. And to do that, you need to set correctly all the parameters in the 3D. So this webinar will be only for the machine modeling. And then we will have next webinar in probably May or the following months regarding the robots, because we also sell robots starting end of March, and we will do a webinar to talk about what robot we handle, the features, and our interfacing with our controllers. All right, so we'll start this range, Cybelec range and configurator webinar. This is the SIP-Touch available, SIP-Touch controllers. So starting from the left, this is the entry range controller to the high range controller, which with the SIP-Touch 15 PS Win, the newcomer of the latest SIP-Touch. So Cybelec 8P. P stands for press, we call them press P, which are conventional machines. They are not synchronized, which means they have a mechanical stop. They don't have Y1, Y2. So this controller can only manage conventional machines. And the hardware is simplified, which means it does not have many input-output. It's for entry range controllers. And it can manage 2 to 3 axes. So if you check your price list, you'll see you'll have different references depending if you need 2 axes or 3 axes, or if you want the panel version, which can be integrated in the machine, or the complete box version, which can be hang up on the arm. So you'll check your price list with different reference, and we also have data sheets and flyers about this controller for more details. Again, more in details about this controller in 2 weeks. So don't hesitate to write your questions for the next 2 weeks. Then we are on the Cybelec 8PS, which is the Cybelec for synchronized machine, which means with Y1 and Y2. 3 axes only, so currently limited to Y1, Y2, and X being the back gauge. Those Cybelec are per default numerical programming, which means you can enter one angle, 90 degrees, then you can enter the position of the back gauge, and add a few steps, change the bending parameters, the dwell time, the TDC, and so on. We have an option on them that is the 2D, that you can draw the profile on the screen. This is a tactile screen, so you can draw the profile with the fingers and select the bending order. This is, however, an option. On the Cybelec 8PS, we have 3 plus 1 axis, which means per default it is 3 axis, but additionally, if you have 1 R axis on your machine, you can add it, you can ask either directly order the Cybelec 4 axis, or you can ask a code later to unlock this axis, which means the hardware here is a bit has a few more input outputs than the previous version. As well, per default, it's a numerical program, but the graphical option is available. Then we'll go on the entry mid-range controller, which is the Cybelec 12. The screen is larger, so more comfortable to use. Per default, it is 4 axis, and per default, it has the graphical option, which means you can program graphical parts. Also available as a horizontal version. We have a new option on this one, which is the automatic bending sequence, which is a button to calculate the sequencing automatically. So once you have drawn your profile, you can click on the button and automatically it will calculate the bending order for you instead of manually setting up it yourself. Then the Cybelec 15. Cybelec 15 is per default 4 axes, Y1, Y2, XR. With the additional module, IO module that we call CybMVA, we can add 2 axes, Z1 and Z2. So now we start to go on the high range, in the high range, and we can manage up to 6 axes. I believe I have a message. No, a newcomer, so we'll accept him. All right. So 6 axis maximum. 4 axis can be directly wired on the controller, and 2 axis, which is the beam, can be wired directly on the IO module, which will be in the electrical cabinet. Now we have the Cybelec 15PS, also for synchronized press brake with more input output, 16 input, 20 21 output, and also this little MVA module to manage the beam. The automatic sequence, bending sequence calculation is included in both in the 15 PS, not the PSE. So this one has the automatic bending sequence. It has basically all the options of the previous SIP touches. And then the last comer will be the SIP touch 15 PS Win, which is a SIP touch. Also, the screen is also 15 inches. As you can see, it's slightly a different resolution. It's more wider than higher, but the box is the same dimension as the SIP touch 15 PS that you probably already know. Limited to 6 axes, but with more features. Why it is called Win? It is because it's running on Windows, which means you can connect it to the network. You can add a keyboard or mouse, and you have all the advantage that Windows brings. It has also more options. For example, bending assistance, A-axis, H-axis can be managed with the SIP touch 15 Win. And it has remote access. So it is possible to remotely, of course, it needs to be connected to the network, but you can access remotely, which the previous SIP touch cannot do it. This one can be accessed remotely. If, for example, the custom end user has an issue, you can simply ask him the connection information, and you can connect on the controller to help the customer to, if he didn't understand any how to program a part, or if he has any other issues coming from the safety, the controller, the software, and so on. So to troubleshoot, this one has the remote access. That's it regarding the SIP touch range. And so from 2 to 6 axis, I forgot to mention that SIP touch 8 PS, 12 PS, 15 PS, and 15 PS are for synchronous machine, but they also can manage conventional machines. So let's say you have a conventional machine with a mechanical stop with X and R back gauge. You could buy a SIP touch 12 PS and define it in a conventional mode. It's simply a parameter to set, so you can use it on a conventional machine. Now we'll go to the VisiTouch range controller. So VisiTouch is our higher range controller. We have currently 4 models. The first will be VisiTouch Pack, then VisiTouch 24 with a larger screen, VisiTouch Pack MX with the 3D integrated in the software, and the VisiTouch 24 MX with a 3D and larger screen. So you cannot go higher than this one. There's no higher range controller than this. The main advantage of VisiTouch will be the CAT and CANopen compatibilities with a lot of different drive manufacturer. So only one wire connected to all the drives. You can manage, you don't need to wire everything, all the digital inputs, you don't need to wire the encoder inputs, the analog outputs to manage drives. It runs on Windows 10, so that you can put it on the network, you put keyboard, mouse, and so. We have Industry 4.0, that is a plugin and an option to install. So we have 2 types of option. One is the option that we call Industry 4.0 that will unlock the potential of the controller, which means you can then ask any information to the controller, and the controller will answer, will give you the information. For example, how many times a punch was used, a die was used, how many times a program was bent, how many hours the pump has been running, and so. So with this plugin, you can do a lot of different things on the controller. And then another example will be angle measurement. That's an option that is only available on the VisiTouch, where compatible with DataM, of course, Vision Component, Vanglor, Iris, LaserSafe Iris System Plus, Iris Plus. So all those systems are also compatible. And the controller also manage up to 26 axes. So here we have the CBMVA, and we have different size of CBMVA. This is mostly if you manage your axes in analog mode, which means you need a lot of input output, then we'll use a bigger MVA with many more input output. So depending on the machine configuration, you'll have a specific MVA to use. And this we will see later on with our configurator, how to select the correct MVA. Regarding VisiTouch, as it's the higher, it has all the options that are available and many more features than on the Cybelec, which are more entry mid-range controllers. We'll have a webinar in 1 month about this controller as well, and we'll talk about this in more detail. So subscribe to our webinar and be ready. There will be a lot of information coming. Then our controller for the shear. We have currently 3 controllers for our shearing machine, Cybelec 8W for mostly swing machines, 8G for guillotine machine with an adjustable rack angle, and 12G for most of the time guillotine machine up to 4 axes, which means up to 2 front gauges and 2 back gauges, X1 to X4. This one mostly manage the blade and 1 axis. The 8G can manage the angle, which means we will adapt before we cut. We adapt the cutting angle depending on the metal sheet we need to cut, the thickness, and the material. And we also adapt the blade gap, which is the space between the blades, automatically depending on the thickness and the material as well. And Cybelec 12 will do the same as the 8G, but it has more input output and can manage 2 front or back gauges. We'll talk about Cybelec shear in the same presentation as the Cybelec for press brake in 2 weeks as well. Then starting April, we will sell robots. We have different kind of robots. This is the current range that we sell. They are relatively small if you are in the world of robots, with the minimum payload of 3 kilos up to 20 kilos and a reach of 1.7 meters. So those are relatively small robots for collaboration. Those robots can manage 6 axes. So it's a complete arm where you can rotate, it can move front back here. Here it will turn. This part will as well rotate. So up to 6 axes. And if we mount it on the rail, we can go to up to 7 axes. So mechanical 7 axes. We will have also a webinar in May about this. You have not received the invitation, but we will add it, so you will receive a new mail about this. So we decided to make a webinar especially about robots to answer your questions. Now our configurator. So this is a tool that we have designed to help the customer choose for the correct controller depending on their needs. We have one configurator, and it is available for press brake and shearing machine. We also have a configurator, so CNC, but that is not the subject today. We speak about press brake and shear. So if you go to this website, configurator.cybelec.ch, you enter the user customer and the password Cybelec CYB27 #elec dot. Don't forget the dot, which is part of the password. Then you will be able to design the controller for your machine. I will show you an example. So currently here, this is a 8-axis machine with a hydraulic type propulsion valve with feedback, for example, her bigger with LVDT feedback. And we have two options, which is the bending assistance and a barcode reader. So here we have Y1, Y2, XR, Z1, Z2, A. A is the rotative axis of the bending assistance, and H, which is the sheet support of the bending assistance. In this case, H will go same height as the die, and when the beam goes down, A will follow the metal sheet being bent in real time. So how do we find a controller for this machine? So I need to check. I will go to the configurator. So this is the website. You can enter customer and the password and sign in. Then you can select, do you want a controller for press brake or shear? Let's say we want, in this case, press brake. So we select press brake. And then we have a few machine requirements that we need to fill up. Those are mandatory information that we need in order to give you the best controller for your application. So the number of analog axes. In our case, let's say our machine is using analog axis. In our case, we have 8 axes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'll fill up 8 axes. Digital axis, this is when you want to manage your axis with digital communication. It can be either EtherCAT or CANopen. In my case, let's say I have none. Everything is wired with wires in analog. And then we have to select the numerical controller type. In our case, I want the housing. We can select panel, which is a possibility if we want to integrate the controller in our own panel, own box, or in the machine. Some manufacturer integrate the controller into the electrical cabinet, for example. So here we select housing, and we can see the housing icon. Otherwise, if we select panel, we can see this is only a panel that needs to be integrated. The rest is up to you. This is up to you to program this. This is digital input, digital output, analog, and input output. So if you have special requirements that you need to fill, you can do it here, but this is not mandatory to fill. And then we will see the whole range that is available here. So we start as I showed you before with the CyberTouch 8B for conventional machine, and then we go higher in the range until the VisiTouch 24MX. Those fields are great, so I cannot select them. Why? Because I have defined that I want to use, I need 8 axes. And currently those controller cannot manage 8 axis. SIP-Touch 15 PS Win ends at 6 axis minimum. So we can select VisiTouch Pack, and it will show me the picture of the controller and what it can do. If I select MX, it will update currently the screen with the different features of this controller and so on. Let's say I want a VisiTouch Pack. Then VisiTouch Pack is here. This is the panel with the CPU integrated, but we need one additional device that we call CybMVA. So we'll go to the next page, additional module, and again, we can select 2 of them because we mentioned we want 8 axes, so we cannot select MVA that has lesser than 8 axes. Now we have 2 types of CybMVA. One that can manage the proportional valves directly, so it has current output, and the possibility as well to wire the LVDT feedback, which is to know exactly the position of the valve. So that's currently what we have. So I will select this. The other possibility is to have this MVA AA8, which has not this valve board to have the current output. That is mostly when you have a different machine. Let's say you have a machine, electrical machine, you have a hybrid machine, and you don't need the current output to manage the valve directly. You need a voltage output, -10, +10, to manage the speed of the beam. In our case, we'll use the FA8, which means 8 axis, with the valve board to manage directly the proportional valves. Once we have done this, we can see the selected configuration. So we use VisiTouch Pack in a housing version with the MVA FA8, and this is a summary of all the input outputs of our controller. So now it's up to you to check that 33 inputs and 31 digital outputs are sufficient for your machine. In most cases, it will be. If you need, let's say, more input output, then you need to select MVA that has more input output. And you can do this easily by selecting this MVA. And you see that here, we increase the number of input outputs. Now I have selected my hardware, but I need also to select the software and the options that go with it. So we have different options. In my case, I had option blending assistance and barcode reader. So that's what I'm going to select. Blending assistance require this option, OFT-BA blending assistance, and also in my case, sheet support. Sheet support will unlock H axis, which is the support axis up and down, and blending assistance BA option will unlock rotative axis, which we call A axis. In my case, I will need those 2 options. And I also have a barcode reader that I need to unlock, which is here. This is an option that, so when you order the controller, you will receive everything configured, of course. All the configuration will be done. If you order the option afterwards, then we will send you a code to unlock this option. So it's possible that, let's say, you haven't ordered this option, and then the end user has bought the machine and he wants to buy to add a barcode reader, then you can later on order the option. We send you a code. Some code also require a plugin to install. And once you have the code and the plugin installed, the option will run on the machine. But in this case, this is a first order, so we order everything for new machine. Then final choice will be the offline software. Some customer require the offline software, some don't, and we have 4 different offline software. First one will be the 2D software, which is exactly the same software as on the controller, except we run it on a computer. And then MX, which is the 3D software, MX Imp, which is the 3D software with the option to import the 3D files, IGES, STEP, and so on. And MX Imp Exp, which is the 3D software that can import 3D files and also export DXF, which means that once you imported your 3D files, you set up everything on the offline software. You select the tools that you want to use. The offline software will calculate the unfolded length, and you can export this DXF of the unfolded length as a DXF in order to cut it on the laser or plasma cutter. So that's the software with full options. Final configuration. This is a summary of what you have ordered, which with this code, that if you send this code to our sales department, they know that you want to order VisiTouch with 8 axes and all these options. And the MVA FA8 also that you need to include in your order. To simplify this, we also give you the possibility to print the configuration. So if you click on print, it will print a small PDF file with the codes, all the options, the reference, and so on. And you can send our sales department this PDF file, so they are aware of what you want exactly. There is no mistake possible, and we deliver in the following weeks. That's all for our configurator. Now we have a website. Don't hesitate to go on www.cybelec.ch and click on support. And here you'll have the link to the configurator that I showed you. Also, if you have issues with the controller, you have the possibility to fill the RMA forms here. And connect to our FTP server. You will need a specific login and password. So if you do not have this login, just email us at support. We will provide a login for you. And in this FTP server, you can have access to the flyers of the machine, which is the marketing document for each controller, the data sheet, which regroups all the technical information, and the input-output list, which let you know how to wire this controller, as well as user manuals for the end users and all the parameters manuals. This is documentation, but on the STP, we also have the softwares, offline software, 3D software, Cybelec simulator that are available for the technician, and many more information. So if you don't have this account, don't hesitate to ask us and we'll give you the access. We also have a YouTube channel. We have recently updated it, so don't hesitate to go have a look at this. You can see the videos currently showing the 2D software 2.0, which is the redesigned software for the 2D for our VisiTouch controller. And it shows a bit different new features that were implemented in this software. So if you are interested, go have a look. And this is something that will evolve this year because We are working on different subjects that will be very interesting in the next months. So we will keep the videos coming to inform you about the new features. Another playlist of our YouTube channel will be, in this case, CNC. We are also active in CNC markets. But what is most interesting will be the robots, how we can program the robot on our controller, on our VisiTouch, and control it as well with AutoCAD directly with the controller. So we have a few videos that show this. Don't hesitate to follow us also on LinkedIn. We are also active here. We put latest news about latest exhibition. Last one was in India, for example, and also a lot of information about the latest feature, latest controller, and all the news. So don't hesitate to go have a look. That's all for today. As mentioned, it's a short webinar, but it's just to introduce you our range controller. I hope you are happy with this, and if you have any question, let me know. I can check and answer. And keep in mind, we will do next webinars, so I hope you will come back to the next one to learn more about Cybelec.